All right. So welcome everyone to the special meeting for Wednesday, October 7th. I'm going to call the meeting to order. And before we move into the agenda, for an approval of the agenda, I would like to suggest an amendment to add an in-camera item at the beginning of the meeting. I think prior to the approval of the agenda, we probably should move to the roll call of councillors just to put who is here on the record. So if I could hand that over to you, Troy.
Thank you, Madam Chair. District 1, Deputy Warden John Sampson.
Present.
Thank you. District 2, Councillor Michael Digdon.
Present.
Thank you. District 3, Councillor Melanie Sampson.
Present.
District 4, Warden Amanda Mombriket.
Present.
Thank you. And District 5, Councillor Brent Sampson.
Okay.
Present.
Thank you. And thank you, Councillor. I missed it. Thank you for your...
All right, thank you. So just from a technical perspective, CIL, I'm noticing my mic on all the time, and that's
Okay.
even when the others are activated?
And remember, there is a delay because the cameras are now
Okay.
tracking when you hit it. So
Great.
just to remind yourself
Okay.
to just pause until you see it.
All right, so just a few technical issues we're ironing out, so we'll take, we'll keep going with the agenda. So in terms of an approval of the agenda, I am suggesting the addition of an in-camera item regarding contract negotiations before we move into number 3, Eastern District Planning Commission. So or are there any other additions to the agenda? No? Okay. I move that we approve the amended agenda. Thank you, Councillor. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Digdon. Any further discussion on the agenda? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that motion is carried. So with that, we will move into the in-camera session. So if you could let Clayton know, that would be great. We're back in public session, so we'll move to the next item on our agenda, which is the Eastern District Planning Commission regarding private ways, and I believe I'll hand that over to you, CAO McCulloch, for an update.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Our planner was instructed to look into this matter that's been going on for a little bit. As he started finalizing his report, he realized some procedural things that had to stop him from presenting tonight because there's 30-day notifications that need to be done before it can come back to council.
Per the Act?
Per the Act, and so notifications of the parties involved in case they want to talk as well. So before it comes back to council, proper notifications have to happen so we can start the planning for this for September. So if not October, just based on the timings and when notifications get out to the people, if it's council's decision that they want to deal with this in September or October,
Okay.
then we need to respect the notification window so that that's done properly.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Troy, for that update. And I think if we could put that on the September council meeting agenda, that would be wonderful. I know it's been taking some time.
Yes.
And it would be regular council, not committee of the whole, that we would take this to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah,
It
okay.
has to be council.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you very much for the update.
Yep.
All right, regarding the landfill closure, the next item on the agenda, essentially, we have a memo as part of our package that outlines what the situation that we're facing. Just wanted to kind of paraphrase a few items out of this before seeking a motion or opening for discussion. First of all, essentially what has happened for members of the public watching, the scope of work to close the old landfill at West Ayrshad is higher than what was originally projected by the consulting company who did the scope of work outline for us. Staff is investigating the source of that error, and so I'll thank you for your work on that, Troy and team. The bottom line is that all bidders had the same information from the consultant group that had provided the scope of work, so the tender result at the end of the day wasn't impacted because it was a tender based on the per unit price. The closure, just as a reminder for folks watching also, is a regulatory requirement. So this responsibility has been kicked down the road for some time. However, it's council's responsibility throughout the years to be putting money aside for landfill closure, and certainly that's something that this council has been trying to do. So at the end of the day, we do have an overage of $665,000 to complete the proper scope. And it's again sourced from that from that incorrect data that was originally provided to all of the bidders. Essentially, we've had success in closing the landfill in Lordways through funding in part from CCBF, a Canada Community Building Fund, which, by the way, that project did come in under budget, as the memo notes, to the tune of $350,000, and those funds are funds that we can use towards future CCBF projects like this. I do want to iterate that it will not impact the tax rate, because should anything go sideways on the CCBF sort of eligibility, then we certainly would be able to take that from our capital reserves. So it wouldn't have a direct impact on operations. So at this stage of the game, the recommendation we're seeing from staff is to approve a $665,000 increase of the budget for the West Arishat landfill closure, which is, again, a regulatory requirement, which will result in an increase to our capital budget on the CCBF line of $2 million for this project. So that would be the motion that I guess we would want to be putting forward this evening. If someone would like to suggest any kind of amending language there or make the motion, we can move this to discussion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the change to the budget for the West Arishat disposal site closure by an additional $665,000 out of our capital fund budget, preferably under CCBF.
Thank you, Councillor Melanie. Could I have a seconder, please?
Yeah, I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Is there any further discussion on this motion? I know I provided a lot of detail at the front, but just wanted to make sure it was clear for everyone to give a little summary. And thank you to staff for preparing that memo. Troy, Chris, much appreciated. It's an unfortunate situation, but one we need to deal with. So, as this is a regulatory requirement. Okay. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right. That motion is carried. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the motion to adopt the capital improvement and development policy. And that's been provided in your package. I want to thank staff again for their work on this. It's been a process getting it here, but I think we've hit a mark that will be helpful to stimulate housing development in the county. That certainly is the purpose of it. Would someone like to make a motion to adopt the capital improvement and development policy as a policy of the municipality of the County of Richmond?
I will gladly make that motion, Madam Warden.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Digdon. So any further discussion on this motion? So maybe just in terms of clarification on next steps, once this is adopted, Troy, I assume you'll be, this will be going up on our website for people to see and as an official policy, but then any developers that may have been in touch, you'll be circling back with them?
Well, certainly.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you very much, guys. So all those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? All right. That motion is carried. The next item on the agenda is dog bylaw. So this is an addition that I made to the agenda because we've had several issues kind of crop up in the district that I represent, District 4, and I know that there have been a few issues in other areas as well. So I'm seeking a motion to refer the dog bylaw to the Bylaw and Policy Committee for review.
I'll make the motion to refer to bylaw policy.
Thank you, Councillor Sampson. Could I have a seconder, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. And in terms of further discussion on the bylaw, I have done some research with other bylaws in the province, and a lot of their bylaws are a lot more clear in terms of what is the progressive action that's being taken. I know we have procedures for that, but it's not necessarily embedded in policy, so the public is not necessarily aware of what those are. Things like service standards, limits on the number of animals per household, the type of animal, animal units. I've even seen references to one-time tax for registering a dog as opposed to yearly tax. And, so that would be really helpful to the public. So, this is about strengthening the bylaw so that it's, easier for our staff to deal with and easier for the public to understand. But also there could be some opportunities for improvements on things like that or service standards. And I've done a bunch of research, so I'll forward that on to you. Also want to note that the SPCA is providing, they have two services that they can potentially provide in some cases. If there's a particular situation, they can come and provide service for a cost, of course, to deal with a particular situation. I've also noticed that some areas use the SPCA as their animal control service. And I don't know how that would work in terms of the provision that we have now. But anyway, just food for thought. I just wanted to provide that, and I'll certainly send all that information along. So okay. So all those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Thank you very much, councillors. Oh, apologies. So the next item on the agenda, we have several grants to review. The first one is a grant request from the Seniors Take Action Coalition regarding a grant request for Type 4 Regional Health General Grant in the amount of $9,400. And at this stage of the game, we do have a memo from staff just outlining that the grant is ready for review and that it kind of aligns with our age-friendly initiatives. So, councillors, I guess before we make motions, does anybody have any questions on the information provided? Go ahead, Councillor Melly.
I do. In reviewing the application, I did note that the balance sheet for the organization was missing. There was actually a couple of income statements, so I wonder if it may have been an error. I did reach out to the interim CFO today and just asked her to reach out to STAC to see if they would provide it, and she just said that they weren't able to. She wasn't able to get a hold of them today or wasn't able to get it. And so for me, like a completed application would include a balance sheet as part of their financial statements. So my opinion would be that we defer it until we can have complete information. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Melanie. I'm kind of the same mindset. Okay, CAO?
Sure. Madam Chair, through you, I can confirm that the interim CFO did make contact with them, and they were advised that there was probably a good chance that this would be deferred tonight until that information was received.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Troy. But other councillors, I guess the options here would be to make a motion to defer this to September's Committee of the Whole meeting. Or to, and it is a significant amount, and we generally do review these at Committee of the Whole because it gives us an opportunity for that sober second thought before council meeting, or would be to go ahead with the approval or decline. So there's several options ahead of us, so I'd open it to a motion to one of those options. And I don't know, Councillor Melanie, if you would like to make that motion, but if
somebody else wants to make a comment first, then
all right.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'd be good with that. I think make the motion to defer it to September's committee of the whole. I think that would be a better process. Yep.
Thank you. So I heard Councillor Brent make that motion.
I will second the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Melanie Sampson. Any further discussion on that item? All right. I just would say it's, looks like a great project. Looking forward to getting the rest of the information. So, okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion is carried. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the grant request for sponsorship funds in the amount of $500 from Festival Acadien de Pays de Gras. And we do have two grant requests from Festival Acadien, one for the 500 under sponsorship and another for physical activity grant funds in the amount of $1,000. But we'll deal with the first one first. I just wanted to put it in context for councillors and for the public watching. So we do have a memo from staff indicating that this aligns with our active living and recreation plan. And so the information has been provided. Would open this for any comments or questions on the information provided, and then we can get to a motion. No? Okay. So would someone like to make a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to sponsor this grant of $500, and I'd be willing to take it out of my district fund.
Okay. The full amount?
$500, yep.
Thank you, Deputy. Thank you, Deputy Warden. So the motion is that council approve the Festival Acadien de Pays de Gras grant request for the Type 3 sponsorship funds in the amount of $500 to be allocated as $500 from the District 1 funds.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Brent. Any further discussion on that item? All those in favor, please say aye. Oh, aye. Those opposed? Okay, that motion is carried. Thanks, folks. The next item is again from the festival, as I mentioned. It's the grant request for the physical activity funds in the amount of $1,000. And again, the memo from staff indicates that the application is complete and that it's a great alignment with our community development sort of strategic plan pillar. So does anybody have any questions or comments on the data that's been provided in advance of making a motion? Okay, so hearing none, I would look for a motion to either approve this grant request with a suggestion on allocation or amend it or to decline it. So I'll open it for a motion.
Yeah, so, Madam Warden, since our Deputy Warden was so inclined to spend his money quickly, I wonder if he has any more left in his District 1 fund. But I think, I don't know, I think we can, I would be happy to make the motion that we use half out of our fund, I guess, our regional fund,
Okay.
and then look to see if we can get the other half from our District 1.
From District 1?
Sure.
Okay, so your motion is to approve the grant requested to $1,000. For 500 from regional and 500 from District 1.
I'd be actually willing to put 250 out of District 2.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so thank you, Councillor Dignan, for your $250, and that was going to be my ask. To be honest, I was going to put $250 out of my District 1 fund and ask $750 out of the regional fund, but I appreciate the offer. So yeah, I agree with that motion. I'll second that motion of $250 from District 1 and $250 from District 2 and $500 from the regional fund. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, councillors. So the motion is to approve the $1,000 for the Festival Acadien de Petit de Gras under the Type 3 Physical Activity Grant in the amount of $1,000 and be allocated $500 from the Regional Fund, $250 from District 1, and $250 from District 2. That's motion's been made by Councillor Digdon and seconded by the Deputy Warden. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? All right, that motion is carried. Now, the last one I think on our list is a sponsorship, or a grant request, sorry, for the Type 3 C3 Sponsorship Grant Fund in the amount of $500 from the Discouse Civic Improvement Society. And again, this grant request information includes a memo from staff indicating the application is complete and aligns with our community development strategic pillar. So I would ask if there's any questions or comments on the grant information provided, and if not, for someone to make a motion to approve, amend, or decline.
Yeah, so Madam Warden, I would like to make a motion to, support this with the funds from District 2 for the full amount.
So the motion's been made to approve the $500 for the sponsorship grant fund for the Disco's Civic Improvement Society allocated to District 2. Could I have a seconder on that motion?
Who am I to stop Councillor Digdon from spending his allocation? I would just maybe ask, could we ask them if we could maybe put our county banner up or something at the event, or? Yeah. So I would second it.
Thank you. Councillor Melanie Sampson has seconded the motion, and just in terms of the discussion, we'll see if we can put a banner up at the event. That would be great. Any further discussion on that item?
Yeah, maybe, and I know they all come through the computer system, but maybe mine is just the way I get it blown up. But in the meantime, maybe when we receive, I'm looking at an income statement or income report back, that's really, really difficult to read. Okay. It's just, so maybe in the future, a little more clarity helps us. Yeah. Because I know the cost is relatively low, but if it was a larger amount, then it would very little.
Yep, no, great point. Okay, thank you, Councillor Digdon. Any further discussion on that item? All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Those opposed? That motion is carried. And folks, there being no further business, we're going to adjourn the special meeting. I want to thank everyone for coming in the middle of the summer. I know that's not typical of our schedule, or maybe it is. And also thanks to the folks who will be watching at home. Thank you very much. Meeting adjourned.